how that works. Welcome everyone. This is a updated tutorial for DKC3 for the GBA, the remake. An any percent speedrun tutorial. Maybe you know the old one, the older tutorial that I made. I think it was at the, like half a year ago at the start of 2017, sometime in March or so. Since that time, some things in this game have been changed when it comes to the routing of a speedrun of any percent. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a new tutorial to cover all the new tricks, the new glitches, everything that hasn't been in the last tutorial, because that is actually something that is nice to see in a run and not in an external video like it is right now. So this run covers basically my strats, which I usually go for during the run. I will also show some like minor advanced techniques and time savers that are not entirely necessary when you go for your first attempts, but which are definitely nice to know because they save frames or even a couple of seconds that can really add up. And I will also try to show different strats for different areas, levels, or situations in the game, so you can pick one of those that you really feel comfortable with. And sometimes they even differ a little bit in difficulty, so yeah, you can pick whatever you like from these strats. Some of them are even like almost the same speed, so it doesn't really make a difference. We start from a fresh file in single player, from a freshly booted ROM, which is important. I'll get into that a little bit more detailed later. Of course the file name doesn't really matter, I just picked this one just because. Timing starts as soon as I hit the end here, and I'll make a save state. I will be using save states throughout this tutorial so I can show you same situations multiple times without having to replay the entire stage. So yeah, let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. So other than in the SNES version, we have to swim manually to the shore here, and there is the first time saver. You can instantly go onto the shore as soon as you reach this corner right here. When you press up, Dixie will instantly go upwards. You don't have to swim like in the middle of the way, right here. You can save a couple of frames by just holding upright, and you can instantly go onto the shore. We skip talking to Wrinkly because she's not necessary for saving. Mash through Cranky's text, sorry, it's Swanky. And then enter the boat. Mashing text in this game is the fastest done by mashing the A button. You do not want to mash B because B actually just accelerates the text, while A instantly fills and clears the text box. And yes, it's funky, it's not swanky. Thanks to my Twitch chat just helping me out here. Alright, we start in the first stage. The first two worlds are pretty straightforward. We use the in-game built warps here. I usually play with Dixie here. You can do two different strats in this stage. So when we start here, what I usually do is I jump here, roll through the strat and get a speed boost. Team up here and do this. So that was pretty quick. Let's go through this a little bit more carefully. We can either pick the Dixie strat through the first world, or we pick the Kitty strat. Both of them are about the same speed. It doesn't really matter. You can pretty much pick whatever you feel better with. I usually go for the Dixie strat. I think I have to explain something about the movement techniques in this game, because there's actually a lot of differences when it comes to the GBA version compared to SNES. When we play as Dixie, what you want to do is just run. We do not want to roll and jump out of it because that's slow. Dixie's rolling actually slows you down for a little bit. So you do not want to roll when it's not necessary, you just want to run. Also, you do not want to roll through single enemies. 2 enemies are something else. I'll get more into that later. But single enemies you do not want to roll through. Exceptions I will also get into later, because Dixie's movement is weird. There's a lot of exceptions we have to talk about, but I'll do that later when I have more time. Right now we can, as I just said, we can just simply hold the B button down, jump over these enemies, team up, and throw Kitty into the barrel right there. What I just did before was I rolled through this red right here. How that works is, you saw me gaining a lot of speed from that red, even though I just said we do not gain speed by rolling through enemies, which is basically true. It's the case. For some reason though, if you jump before an enemy and land right in front of him and then roll through him, you do gain speed. I don't know why that is. It's weird, but that's how it is. So I use this pose right here as a visual cue. I don't get it every time. It's a little bit tricky, but I always jump like around here and then roll through the red. As you just saw, it didn't work. Sometimes it does work though. If it doesn't work, it doesn't really matter. It just saves like a fraction of a second. Also, you saw in my input display that I let go of B there, because if you hold down B, Dixie will pick up the barrel and the roll will die. So you want to extend the roll as far as possible to make use of that additional speed. And then we spawn at the end here, and that's where we make use of the first skip, which will carry us through the entire world and the entire game, basically. It is this goal right here, has a nice skip to it that saves about, I think it's 190 frames per goal, optimally, if you do it frame perfectly. So you can say about 3 seconds saved each stage by just simply doing this. What I just did there was, I jumped onto the goalpost, and on the exact same frame that I touched it, I pressed start and select. That skips the ending jingle. And that's, as I mentioned, about 3 seconds long. So, look at this. This is skipped. So I just jump onto it, press start, select. How that works is, the game considers a stage to be beaten on the first frame or as soon as you touch the goalpost. So, as soon as you touch the goalpost on the very first frame, you can start and select and leave the stage, which is usually a feature that you can make use of when you re-enter a stage that you have beaten before. So it's just a little bit of an oversight, I guess. But a very convenient one, because that saves a bunch of time over the entire run. In pretty much every stage except of boss fights we can do that. That also applies for 103% when you try to grab the bonus coins. That does also work. As soon as you grab the coin, you can start select and you can go out of the stage without listening to the jingle, and you're done. What I want to show as well is, if you play this with Kitty, you just can do this. You switch, and there is a barrel right there that shoots you right onto this. No, there, somewhere right there should be the wolf barrel. There it is. If you do that, it's about the same speed, so it doesn't really matter. That would be if you do the Kitty strats for this stage, and then you can just proceed with Kitty. I, however, will proceed with Dixie because that's what I feel more comfortable with. Dixie is a little bit more tricky in this first world, but she makes the first boss a little bit easier. These timings for the levers, you just have to get used to. Team up here, go into the vault barrel. It's pretty much straightforward. There's not much into it. The only thing that can be a bit tricky there is just how long you have to hold on to the grapples to make the doors go up or go open enough so you can slip through it. But that's just something you have to figure out on your own, how long you have to hold on to them. It's nothing I will cover here because that's just simply trying and erroring. You will lose runs to it, but yeah, that won't happen at some point. One thing that I'd like to mention right here is, you saw me jumping very far and fluttering very late. That is because fluttering is slower than running. or just jumping in the air. So I want to make sure that my flutters cover the distance they're supposed to cover, but nothing more. I do not want to flutter when I don't have to, because that is actually slower than normal running or jumping, as I said. It's just a matter of frames, but when you can save the frames, it's always a good thing. You can do two things here. If you get to here with the kitty strats, you can just do this. It doesn't work, you can just do this, and you're in the barrel. With Dixie, however, it's a little bit more tricky. A normal upwards throw will work. This will also not hit the barrel, because Dixie doesn't throw kitty that far. What you can do here is either do a very far jump and hit it that way, or you can do a technique that you should keep an eyeball on the input display. I will press B now to throw kitty, and as soon as kitty is about to be released from Dixie and like going over into the air, I will press up. That makes this happen. You saw that. That was kind of a mixture in between a normal team throw and a team throw that goes upwards. So it goes very high up, but it also covers a lot of distance. This is pretty much the only spot in the game that it's really useful for, but it makes it a little bit faster to reach the warp barrel with Dixie, or with playing as Dixie. Of course, you reach it with kitty, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you just have to get down to the timing. It's not too tight. It's actually pretty easy technique. Just try it a little bit and you will get it. I usually just go for when kitty is like over Dixie and she's about to throw him, then I hold upwards on the D-pad, and that's pretty much it. You can die, and we start select, and we're done with this stage too. This stage introduces ice physics. At the very start I want to jump, simply because to get out of the roll there, and because I gain more speed by instantly jumping than I would by starting to run on snow, because running on snow or starting to run on snow out of an idle state gives you less momentum, so it actually takes longer for you to gain speed. So I jump there, which gains speed instantly. Next stage, just jump on this one, team up, and once this thing reaches its spike, jump, throw kitty into that, done. Also pretty easy, and right here, start select, and that's it. And now we're coming to the first boss. When you remember the strats for SNES, you pretty much played this boss with kitty, picked up the beetle, and jumped against Belch's teeth. In this version it doesn't work. When you do that in this version, the beetle will die. I can show you that. It's actually pretty simple. Dead. I mean, I didn't hit his teeth, but if I would have hit his teeth, the effect is basically the same. It just doesn't work. So you saw that would have been a hit, but the beetle dies. So what I want to do instead is, and that is because that is why I play with Dixie, you just go here and line up on a very specific spot. My first visual cue, do I have my mouse? I don't have my mouse. Let me just try to enable this so you can actually see my mouse. Does this work? No. It doesn't. For whatever reason it doesn't work. You don't see my mouse. Anyway, you see this small post in the background that is right in front of Dixie's head, right? Like, here. This post, that is my first cue to go for. That is where I position myself for the first hit. So the first post in front of Belcha. Let's try this again. To get the timing right, I just jump down here instantly. Crack the barrel, pick up the beetle, take him up and instantly throw. Just while picking him up, just release B again. And then I wait here, in between the post where Kitty now sits in front of, because he's fat, he covers it, and the larger post in the background. Right in between those two, that's where I wait for the second one. Crack the barrel, pick up the beetle, pick him up, throw, done. And then you wait for Belcha to fall into that, pick up the coin, mash through Cranky's text, and that's it. An important thing though, I think I tested it once, you can actually pick up the bonus coin, or the stuff after a boss and start selecting out of it on the very exact frame that you pick it up. You will have the item, but the boss will not be defeated. So I couldn't go to World 2. That doesn't really work, so you just have to watch that small cranky cutscene. There's nothing you can do about it. World 2 is pretty much the same concept, we just use the in-game warps. Right here is a neat jump that you can do onto the spider instantly into the warp barrel. I hope I can still get it. Let's try and see. No, it was too late. The timing was weird. I'll try it again to show you what it's supposed to look like. It's tricky. I don't always get it. It's weird. No. It's a very weird jump. I really hate this jump. It saves about 3 seconds, I would say. Nope. Still too late. It's just a matter of timing. There we go. So that's the fastest way to get into the barrel. It saves the teaming up animation. Otherwise, you just wait for the spider and jump into that way. I tried to come up with a visual cue for that, but I realized that it doesn't really work every single time, so I just go by just getting a feeling for when to jump. It's not easy to explain, just do it on your own. You just have to do it on your own. I can't really help you with that. If you get another strat for it that helps you getting that jump consistent, it's nice. Otherwise, you just don't get those 3 seconds saved. It doesn't really matter. Riverside Race is also very simple, even though it has another very tricky jump sometimes. The jump actually is pretty easy, but sometimes it can chore you. I roll through these enemies because there are 2. And 2 enemies plus, when you roll through them as Dixie, you still gain speed. So that's why I rolled through them. I didn't jump over them. If you would play with Kitty, though, I think I should mention that. If you play with Kitty, consistent rolling, like infinitely rolling, chaining rolls, is the fastest way of movement. So it's completely different compared to Dixie. However, we're still playing as Dixie. We jump at the very edge of the corner there, and we hold down the jump button over the entire time, because in this game, the longer you hold the jump button, the higher you jump, basically. There is some peaks, of course, but you do want to hold down the jump button for that one all the way until you reach the barrel, just to make sure you really reach it. Because I lost a bunch of runs to this very jump. And then right here you just do this. I think the fastest time you can get in this is like slightly below 11 seconds. In Riverside Race, I think it's like 10.98 or so. But it doesn't really matter. If you get something around 11 seconds, that's really good. You pick up the barrel there, team up here, into that. Also, the barrel works the exact same way as the Beatles and Belcher. Pick it up, instantly throw it. There's no need to hold it. So once you pick it up, instantly throw it. Stage done. Barrel should bust up. We have a bunch of cycles here for these monkeys. First of all, you do not want to pick up that barrel, so you flutter over it. So this works just fine. You can do this. It looks pretty sweet. Go up here. Don't have to wait here. Here you have to wait. Jump up here, fall down here, and you're in the warp barrel. Something I want to mention is, this is the way I go through the stage. There is technically a faster way, but it's really difficult to do. And it's also really dangerous, because it messes up some cycles. And if you don't do it perfectly, it can be more than likely that you can take a hit or even die. And that is by rope jumping. Rope jumping on vertical ropes is a pretty difficult technique, because it comes down to frames to do it very optimally. Pretty much what you would do is you hold left or right, or you press left or right and mash the B button. I think that would be, or the A button for jumping. that might be the best way to do it. But as I said, it is really difficult and it's very dangerous, so I wouldn't recommend doing it. It also doesn't save that much time. So we just pass all the nonsense we don't need, and we go into Bobbing Barrel Brawl. It's the last stage in this world. I deboost here. There is a way to get onto that bird without deboosting, but I want to have Kitty in the lead for Eric. So by sacrificing Dixie, I could just switch here, of course, and do a team throw. But I want to make sure that I have a DK barrel crack up on Eric. Why that is, I will show that in the next stage on Eric. So what I do here is just jumping, fluttering into the... What I do here is jumping, fluttering into the bird, take a hit, jump into the barrel. So I have Kitty, roll to the goal, and do this. So, and now for Eric. The reason why I want to have only one Kong going into Eric, and why I want to have Kitty going into Eric, is that the loading time for Eric is quite long. And you want to hit a very first cycle on Eric, so you want to jump on him as soon as possible. The DK barrel that I will instantly crack open because I'm actually spawning right at it gives me time to react, basically. Otherwise, the fight would start and I would have to react pretty much right away. But this way, you see that I see that the barrel cracks open and I can prepare to fight Eric. That's why I want to crack this barrel open. It just gives me a little second right here, jump onto him, throw the barrel into his face. Team up, do this, jump down here, throw the barrel into his face. Team up, throw up there. So, and this is where it gets tricky. You can, of course, play this boss casually, which is perfectly fine, because the strat that I'm going for right here is not really difficult, but it's very dependent on your timing. I will pick up this barrel right now and do a high jump. That means I will press down the jump button all the way through and wait for Kitty to land again. And then I know that I should be about dropping down, throwing the barrel. So something like this. That was a little bit too early. I slipped down a little bit too far. I just wait until Eric goes out of the screen, and once he's gone, I jump, as I just mentioned. And then I wait like half a second or so. And then I instantly drop down here. That was not far enough. You see, this is really tricky. But it's the fastest way of beating Eric. I might not get this cycle now. Yeah, he came down too early. If you drop down there, it's really difficult to get up in time to be able to deal the last hit quickly. But yeah, this is how it's supposed to look like. You would deal all the hits very quickly. Oh, that was not correct. You want to make sure that you land on that small branch there. That gives you a small moment of time that is actually very precious for this strat. Then you collect this one. If you can't do this strat, there is a backup actually. So let's just say you don't get this. You wait here, jump on his back, you will split it right there, and you can still do this. Same goes for this. He will instantly spit one of these green goo thingies downwards. The first goo that he spits down despawns when you follow it. Just like this. You can just jump down here. Even though it would be there, it is completely gone. And if I wouldn't have lost my barrel, I could instantly hit him. Let's try this again. See? It's gone. So you can also deal these hits quite quickly. It's a little bit slower, but it's, I think, a little bit safer. If you mess up my strat, like the one cycle strat, I would say, you have to wait for another cycle, of course. So that's... yeah, of course, more time consuming. Just practice this fight. It's a lot more consistent than on SNES, because this boss has absolutely no RNG to his movement. It's all scripted, so it's just a matter of practice. We return back at Funky, just smash through his text again, and he will build the hovercraft for us. So make sure to press right here once to go into the hovercraft. Movement with a boat. Once you spawn here, press up and B, and you will... I think that doesn't work anymore now because I already stopped. Once you collect the select the hovercraft, just hold up and B, and the small boost that you get by driving out of the boat ramp is enough to just give you enough momentum to get around the loading zone of Swanky's boat ramp. So up and B, and then you can steer a little bit to the left and make the cut right there. Boat movement is a little bit tricky, so yeah. This is where it gets interesting. I start with Kitty, that means we roll a lot, and also this is where the platforming begins. This stage is mostly about cycles, so you just have to get used to when you can roll, when you have to jump, because these owls will shoot the fireballs. The first half of the stage is not too difficult, but I would recommend trying to not get hit with Kitty. Keep Kitty until the damage boost that we're about to do, and yeah, this might be how it's supposed to look like. No, that's not it. Dude, what's going on here? Jump over this one just in case. These fireballs have weird hitboxes, jump in between those. Do not roll through that beetle, he doesn't like that. Here is a very important thing. If you jump too early on this platform that I'm about to land on, I will take damage from the cheese ball or from the fireball that the owl above me just shot. So what I do here, even though it's a little bit slower, but it's way safer, is I make sure that I hug the wall to the right, like of the next staircase thingy there, because that makes sure that I'm far enough to the right to jump, like this. So if I jumped too early there, I would have taken a hit. But by hugging the wall, I make sure that doesn't happen. You can not get through these cheese balls without stopping. And I want to have Dixie for the next part anyway, so I just deboost here to get rid of Kitty and then play on with Dixie, because I instantly get back Kitty here. Wait here, flutter 1, 2 and fall down. That makes the cycle perfectly for the last owl. Jump up here. You can do that very quickly. You can jump off of a horizontal rope on the next frame after you grabbed it. So I wouldn't recommend mashing it. It's just very quickly pressing the buttons again. You will get the feeling for that pretty quickly, I'm pretty sure. You can even outspeed the owl that way very easily. And you just make your way up here and proceed. Do not kill that enemy. Roll down here, even though that looks very close, it works. Sometimes these owls shoot, sometimes they don't. You just have to keep an eyeball on those. It's a little bit tricky. I don't know why that is. Sometimes they just wait for you to get near them. Sometimes they shoot so you can actually go instantly. Wow, that lag. What's going on here? It's weird. You can make the cycle perfectly by running through these three. I'll just do this section again. So, 1, 2, drop down under the third one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You saw I instantly outspeeded the owl. It's not really difficult. Roll down here, make a hook here. Shot instantly again. We drive up here. The right owl on this platform always shoots first, so you can actually wait on the left side. Jump here. didn't mean to flutter there. So as I said, you can run underneath the first three, that works. Right here, you have to make this hook or wait. And the third, the middle one of these shoots first. So let me do this again. So run, wait, hook. Oh, that was not good. Jumped too early there. Run, hook, hook. And then right here you can just hold right and B. They will not hit you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flutter on SNES. There is a movement technique that you can get through there very easily. In this case, we do it a little bit differently, because rolling off of a ledge doesn't give us speed. We just want to make sure that we run and then flutter as high as possible. And after the second ball hits the ground, you can let go of the flutter. Because as I mentioned earlier, fluttering in the air when you can actually run on the ground loses time. So 1, 2, and you drop down. Jump here. You cannot actually run off of this ledge. Sometimes it happens that when you run off of this ledge, Dixie starts fluttering. So I don't want that to happen, so I just jump off of this ledge too, and then finish that stage. And we're coming to a first Autoscroller. The first major time loss in this stage can be that you actually hold B and right. If you do that, this happens. You hug the wall. I don't know why they did this. You have to go left first, so you just jump down here. There is actually a way to play this stage without the sled. There is a way to skip it. Let me try to show this. It's actually pretty easy. Try to see if I can get this. That's not it. That's it. Oh, why didn't this work? There we go. So you just jump down until the camera scrolls and then do a team throw, and Dixie will, yeah, clip. This strat is way safer. It's very hard to die to this stage when you play it without the sled. However, it is about half a minute slower. So if you want to do it this way, of course you can. I would recommend playing it with a sled though, because it's just way faster. And once you get used to the sled physics, it's not that difficult. So I would be still Dixie here. So I want to ride the railing right here. Whenever you can ride the railing for a longer time, you should do it, because it's faster and it's not decreasing your speed when it goes uphill, for example. It keeps your speed. While riding on the ground when going uphill actually makes you a little bit slower. So what you want to do here is you want to jump up slopes and ride down slopes to gain speed. It's not always possible and it can mess up your movement, so you have to keep an eye on enemies. It doesn't matter on the ground or in the air, like on the railing. So yeah, just this stage is just a matter of practice. Also, a very important thing is this mechanic of holding down the jump button for getting higher jumps is very important for the sled, because on the sled it's actually even more significant that you jump higher. If I just slightly tap the jump button, this happens. You see my jump is very low. If I hold it down, you saw the jump is way higher. And I'm staying in the air forever. Well, however, if I just tap it, my jump is very low. And you see I'm going a little bit faster there. So this stage is just memorizing enemy patterns, jumping over obstacles. Riding down slopes. You saw it wasn't really working there. I couldn't jump up and I couldn't ride down because there was the pipe and an enemy. So it doesn't work every single time. But if you can do it, you should do it. This might be one of the stages that you should practice a lot, just to get used to enemy positioning and all that stuff. That can sometimes happen. I tried to let go of the railing, but I instantly re-grabbed it. So that's something that can happen. I would recommend avoiding that railing there, but I think if you let go of it early enough, you should be good. So I want to make sure that... Wait a second, I need to replay this, because there was actually something coming up that is really important. So let's go through this again. There's not that much I can teach about this stage, just explaining the jumping mechanic. And also playing it a lot to know where the enemies are. Because in this stage it's not that important, but there is another stage later on, which looks kind of the same, or similar. The camera in that stage is really wonky. Sometimes it follows you very high up into the air and you can't even see what is on the ground, so it's very easy to ride into enemies. I remember that stage being a huge block in my runs back in the days. But once you have it down, it's actually not that difficult anymore. So let's get to this specific spot again. Should be here. Yeah. What I do here is just very slightly tapping the button. And that makes sure that you get over all the gaps but not actually touch the railing, because I don't want to do that. That can mess up my movement at the end. Of course, riding the railing would be faster, but I do not want to do that. So I just tap the button there. Oh, obviously I want to jump over the beetle. And then you just do very small hops. Those are called the impossible test jumps. Even though they're pretty much working even without a TAS. And a small important thing when you get shot into this barrel right here, you do not want to hold a direction. Because if you do, this happens. If you hold right, you will actually land earlier. I don't know why that is, it's very weird. So you can hold jump or B just fine, but do not press a direction. To make sure you get actually shot closer to the goal, jump onto it, done. This stage is exactly the same, straightforward stuff. There is nothing happening right here except of do not die. It's another autoscroller. You can do whatever you want unless you do not die. Learn where enemies are. It's very easy to lose a conk to that B. And just make sure that you follow the path upwards through the trees. And that's pretty much all I can say about this stage. The only skip that you can do is at the very end, so... Until that point we have a little bit of time, I guess. But yeah, as you see, there is nothing happening in this stage. It's a very boring one. Also, if you roll through enemies in this stage, it's not really bad because it's not about vertical horizontal movement, but vertical. And you need to wait for the screen to scroll anyway. You could technically learn this stage by heart and go from the very beginning to the very top without actually seeing anything. That does work. However, the goal will not be spawned. The goal will not spawn until a very certain point of the camera being scrolled. And I will actually make use of that. Let me make a save state here. I go into that barrel, get shot, hold left and B, and then run over here and jump around. It's hard to describe what I do, you just saw my inputs there. What I do is after I jump into the first barrel that shoots me upwards, I hold left and B. That makes sure that I hug the left wall, and then I just hold B and right to run over. There would be a coin enemy, but he's not loaded yet, so you can actually run past him if you are fast enough, and you should be because it's not that close or that tight. And once you see the screen being like where the goal is, which is on the right tree somewhere in the middle, just jump around, and I'm pretty sure you will quickly see or get a feeling for where the goal actually is. So I'll show that again. Oh, that was too ow. Ouch. It was too slow. So you jump there, run over, and that was it. Do that one more time. Run into the barrel, jump, and then run. I think once the G actually goes into the... If you collected all the Kong letters, once the last letters go into the Kong head and counting the life, you should be good looking for the goal, because that might be the spot or the timing when it's actually spawning, I guess. That should be fine. Blazing Bazookas is a technical stage. It can be tricky. Sometimes the hitboxes in this stage are very weird, but yeah, just try to get through this, hopefully with Dixie in the lead. So let's go. At first we have an enemy here that he shoots 3 barrels while you are getting onto him. And the 3rd barrel is actually the one that I want to jump on. So you see the distances between the barrels, and once you just drop down to hit the 3rd one as soon as it spawns, you jump into the barrel instantly. That saves just landing on the bazooka and jumping up again. So should look something like this. And then you let go of that rope instantly, jump over this guy, do a very high jump here, hold A, because if you don't hold A, you don't jump off of the barrel that you hit high enough, you might take a hit on this bazooka guy then. Here you just climb the rope, instantly shoot out of the barrel, not wait as I just did. Again, for this barrel, don't hold the direction, otherwise your barrel shot will maybe hunger and starve. It's a very close thing. I don't like this. So just make sure you cover the whole distance like this. Don't pick up that barrel. You can do it, of course. Don't jump into the spider thing. You could kill the bazooka with a TNT barrel, but you don't actually need to. Don't get into the spider barrel, jump into this one. Hold right. Flutter over this gap. So, if you have taken the spider, you would get rid of it right here. So, yeah, but you shouldn't hit the spider barrel. This can be tricky, because these hitboxes are very interesting sometimes. You want to make sure that you do not jump too early, otherwise you will hit the barrel that is flying above you. And you do also not want to jump too late when the next one approaches you, because these TNT barrels, when they fly, their hitboxes are actually bigger than you might think. So let's do this. Hold left here, roll off of him and jump. If you jump too early, you might hit that, you can get the first shot there. Make sure to climb the rope as far as possible, because climbing on a horizontal rope is faster than running. But what I was about to say earlier was, when you roll off of the bazooka guy on top after the barrel shot, and you jump too early, you will be stuck into in the barrel. You won't be stuck there, but you will of course enter the barrel. And when you press A, then again, it might be that you will be shot into the TNT barrel. That would be bad, so be careful there. Otherwise, just wait a second when you hit the barrel on accident. Let's do this section again, because it can be a little bit tricky. So hold A, hold left, run off this, jump onto that guy, instantly mash to get the first shot there, you don't need to wait. Here you have to wait though, and get the cycles in between the barrels. You cannot get a single quick shot there. Here you can just run off the edge. Don't stop like I just did. Just run, and trust me, that'll work. Let's do this again. So jump on the second guy here to jump into the barrel. Climb this, let go. Wait. So, make a save state here. Take a shot. And now, just run down here. Do not flutter, because that will be slower. Just run. And that is a consistent pattern. If you do not stop there by any means, and you run off the ledge onto the bazooka, his knockback of the bazooka will give you the exact slowdown that you need to not hit that barrel. So, and you can just instantly climb on. That works just perfectly fine. Like this. Of course, make sure to not climb into the one. That would be bad. If you just hold right then and B, you will pretty much do this, I guess. So you have to slow down a moment, but you guarantee to not drop into the TNT barrel. So let go of right for a brief moment there. That's enough, and then follow the barrel, shot there, and done. With Kitty you might be a bit more careful there, because he is bigger, his hitbox is bigger, so these barrels are way more dangerous. And that was Blazing Bazookas. It's one of the more difficult stages, I would say. It's not super difficult. Maybe I should put a rating for the stages in the description. That might be an interesting thing to do. So, Logie Labyrinth. This stage is also one of the more difficult ones, especially if you want to do it fast. There is certain strats in this stage that makes it very fast, however they are very dangerous and you are likely to lose a bunch of time if you mess them up, which can happen quite easily. So when you enter the stage, you see everything goes very slowly. You jump very high if you hold down the button all the time. You run a little bit slower than usually. Even a just tap jump goes very high. So take your time here, do not rush it, because that can actually go terribly wrong. So what you want to do here is roll above the edge, jump, hold the jump button. So what I did there, you saw me once I was close to the red B. Hold down the jump button, that gives you a very high jump to jump over that B that you just see on screen, because in between the B and the actual limitation of the stage there is a whole bunch of space. You wouldn't even believe how much space there is. Dixie can jump over that B just fine, so you don't have to slow down there. And then what you do is just fall down here, hug this wall, and on a very specific height I want to start fluttering. I will hug the wall here, press right as I just said, and when you're about here somewhere, I would say, and that might be a little bit too late, but maybe that pipe in the background might be a good spot to go for it. Once you're crossing that pipe or that hose, I don't know, just start to flutter. That might be a good thing to do. So you cross that B, cross that B. You can cross that B too, like this one right in front of me, but your flutter has to be very precise for that. I would recommend stopping in front of this B and taking another jump, simply because it gives this B right here a specific cycle, and also the rest of the Bs later. You can just fall down then. So let me do this again. Hug the wall, start fluttering. That might be a flutter that gets over that B, yeah. But the hitbox of these bees is also bigger than you would think, so better do not risk it. I would recommend landing in front of this bee and then taking the jump over it, even though this is a little bit slower, but it's way safer. And it also, as I just mentioned, lines up a cycle, so this is what it's supposed to look like. So I'm landing here, doing this jump. Once that bee crosses, I'm wiggling around left and right here. And as you see, these bees are perfectly lined up. Out of the roll, I can jump over these guys. I will pick up midway here. I would recommend taking the time picking up midway in this stage. I know it's slower, but it's way safer, especially in your first runs, and this stage can go terribly wrong, because right now is where the difficult spot begins. Jump into this barrel, and now you're Quarks the parrot. Quarks cannot shoot eggs or crackers or nuts or whatever they are. He can just carry barrels. So what you want to do with Quarks is stay away from barrels, because when I get closer to a barrel while holding down the B button, which is useful because you actually fly faster, as you just saw it, he will get close to the barrel and pick it up instantly. Saw that? So I don't want him to do that because that can be slowing me down. So I want to mash A to fly up there. Fly a little bit higher over that one. Also that gives me enough space to get in between these bees. Just do it that way. You can pick up this barrel, you can and kill that bee. You have to turn around here though, otherwise the bee will hit you. But you can also fly down below here without taking a hit, that's important. Whatever you do there is completely up to you. So I'll go for this strat again. Get in here. Wanna be careful here to not fly up too high. Wait right here for those to come down. So, right now you have two things you can do. You could go to the left and take the slightly longer path, or you can fly up and take a D-boost through two red bees to skip going to the left. So this would be the intended way. Go up here, and you get to this bee right there. The other way would be to just fly up here, D-boost through here, and you're also here. You saw that's a lot faster, but you only have one hit left. When you fly up here, then you have these rotating bee rings. And they can mess you up pretty badly. I can't stress how many runs I have lost to these bee rings. If you take the longer path, you would have a way to D-boost through these, or to just take a hit when... and you can get through them without it taking a hit. And if you can't, don't feel bad. These bees are mean. And Quark's movement in this stage is awkward. You sink down very slowly. So take this very carefully. For myself, I go for the longer way and keep my hit, just to not lose the run to these bees. It is maybe 5 seconds, but I'll take a 5-second time loss over losing the run. If you fly into the stopping sign there high enough, and you hold jump after that, you will, and the direction of course, you will be launched right into the shooting upwards barrel and not just land and having to jump up again. It's just a small time saver. Depends a little bit on the cycle of the bee. Also, you can skip a lot of these with high jumps with Kitty. Don't try to jump over the second one too, because you will not make it. And finish the stage. So, what is happening right now is my Kong management is bad. I have solo Kitty. I want to have Dixie in the lead. So I would have to switch here. Mash through his text, make a save state right here. Chaos is actually the boss that is the most broken one, I would say. We will make use of a very specific technique that is called team jumping. The team jumping technique is a thing that is exclusive to this version, and what it basically is, if you're familiar with the SNES version, you know that you can, when you're Dixie and you team up on Kitty on your back and throw him against the wall, he will ricochet off of the wall, roll back to you, you can jump onto him and like ride him, like you can roll tin cans in DKC1. So that is the technique that we will make use of for this boss. Even though you might think, how can that be useful for? I will show you how broken this boss is. And this technique saves a lot of time when you play this boss optimally. The thing is, you can see the fighting area of this fight. Left and right we have walls. On DKC3 on SNES, you can not ride Kitty when he's ricocheting off of a wall, I guess. Or at least you might be able to, but you can chain these actions to each other. On this version, however, we can do that. And that looks something like this. No. It looks something like this. So you actually team up again, and you can jump very high and hit chaos that way. It is not very easy to do that, but it definitely saves a bunch of time. And when you do this with the correct timing, you can get 7 subsequent hits very, very quickly and not allow him to go high upwards like he just does right now. It is difficult to explain the positioning. I think by just watching my positions, you see where I am positioning myself in the first phase. I'll do that again just to show you. On the second phase, when his helmet lifts off, it is completely up to where he actually is. Because sometimes you bounce off to the left, sometimes you bounce off to the right. That depends on where you actually hit him. So it's hard to say you would be standing here and this is how you do it. That doesn't work. You have to make that up completely on your own, depending on where chaos is positioned and how you get the cycles in the first phase, of course, because that also affects it. What else is important is the timing on the second phase. If you hit chaos on the second phase too early, he will bounce you off because his hitbox is not already active again. So the timing for that is not really strict, and it's not really precise either. It's just something that you have to get a feeling for when he's hittable again, but also when it's still early enough to get the hit, because if you do it too late, he lifts up and you can't reach him anymore. Even though you could technically do something like this. That didn't work, he was coming too close there. You could do something like this. Hover in the air, like right here. I don't think you can hit him when he's flying up there in the last phase. But yeah, this is basically how it works. All you do is throw Kitty against the wall, jump off of his back, and do this. This is actually very easy. It's really not that difficult. It might be something that you have to get used to the button presses, but it's like doing team throws against a wall, and once you clip onto Kitty, and Kitty's hitbox in that case is really generous, you jump off of him again, he will return to you, and you can throw him against the wall again and chain that again and again, and you can go very high with that. Believe me, you'll see later. So let's do this boss again, and hopefully I can show you a nice one cycle. I team up there just simply to be faster, because when you have teamed up with Kitty, you're running very slow. So he will go to the left there first. I was too slow. It's not easy to get a 1 cycle, but it saves a lot of time. But pretty much every cycle that you skip on this boss is a bunch of time saved. And I'm pretty sure once you have mastered the technique and played this boss a bunch of times, you will know when to do what action. Optimally, you would want to... See, that was too early, for example. I didn't hit him early enough. Late enough. His hitbox wasn't there, so he just bounced me off. You can try to lure him onto the wall here. Yeah, his head can't be in motion. If his head is in motion, he can't take a hit. So you actually know when you are good to hit him again. That should be it, I think. Yeah, so that would be what the boss is supposed to look like when you get a perfect 1 cycle. He will not lift up, you will just chain hits. Very important thing though, when you deal more hits than you're supposed to, you will soft lock the boss. I will try to show how that looks like. Just to mention it, Chaos has 7 hits. 3 with a helmet, 4 without it. If you deal more than 4 hits onto Chaos' head when he has no longer a helmet on, you're screwed. Your run is over. I'll try to get this. I don't think I can do this. What would happen is I can maybe re-enter this and show you. What would happen is Chaos will actually lift off his head, and the phase that is going on later in the last world before you fight K. Rool, that phase would start right here, but you couldn't do anything. You're stuck, you can't hit him, and you can't die. It's a soft lock. I'll try to get it, but I don't think I can do it. Just to show you what it looks like. It's kind of weird. Also, if I can get it, there is a video on my YouTube channel where you can watch it when it happened actually in a run, because I wasn't able to count. So let's try to get this again. It's nice practice. Also for you, maybe interesting to see how I fight this boss. It's a bunch of practice needed. It's not easy, but the reward is pretty damn high. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I can still do this without a 1 cycle, but I need to make sure that the last hit is going to give me some time. Not good. But yeah, you can hit him there, as you can see. You can still do this and wait for the last. I think I messed it up. Color palette is weird in the background. Yeah, you can still hit him very high up there, but Doesn't allow for the soft lock, of course. And only if he just went up anyways, which optimally should not happen. Oh. I'll get this soon, no worries. This time will be it. Oh. Or not. I would make more save states, but it's kind of difficult to do that in time. Okay, I'll wait here, doesn't matter. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Okay. I don't know how many hits we have left. I'll just deal a bunch now. I'll be fine. Okay. Was it the last hit already? No, okay, we have one more now. We have one more. And then we'll see what happens. Okay, so... instantly team down, that gives me enough time. Ah, my jump died there. Too early. It's difficult right now because the positioning of Chaos is really bad. Again, slightly too early. Again, too early. Come on. I'm just so close to get it. There we go. So, this should work now. His helmet lifts off, and you see there is a text box that is about to spawn. You see that there's a slightly darker segment on the screen. Now he starts his phase from where the boss fight in World 7 would start. But of course that's not supposed to happen, and I'm soft blocked. I can't do absolutely nothing. You see I'm pressing buttons, but nothing is happening. So this is the soft lock. And when that happens, that means you are bad at counting like I am. You didn't pay attention like I did. And your run is over because you are stuck. This looks weird, but if you have beaten the boss, of course you can start select. That does work. But on a normal run, you wouldn't have beaten him. So, and thanks to Xylo for figuring that out. I wouldn't have actually tried that. So we leave this world because we have more to do. The next stage is a water stage, the first water stage, I should say. And it's just mostly learning the cycles of the fish. So we want to hold B, even though our horizontal movement in the water is really bad. When you hold down and press the A button to do like a swimming up animation thing, your swim will actually be very low. So this game gives you a lot of very precise water control. And as I just said, this is just about learning the cycles of the fish coming out of the lumbers. I think they're called bazas. The fish, the green ones. You can clip through here. Make sure that you are aware of the fact that you skip midway, which is right here. If you go this way, you do not have midway, and if you die, you start from the very beginning. So it's up to you if you take the shortcut there and sacrifice midway, or if you take it a bit safer and grab the midway barrel. Here you have to wait for that fish. You cannot make it through the cycle without waiting for the one fish there. It's really weird. Also, this water stage has a bunch of very broken out-of-bounds techniques. I will not show them off because for the category that I'm tutorializing here, those are banned anyway. This does not allow for out-of-bounds clips. So I will not be covering the out-of-bounds stuff. Small time saver here. You saw the black screen. The transition from the water stage to this part where the ending is, like this cave. When you hold B plus A plus right in that black screen, Dixie or your active Kong will actually jump out of the water, so you save a little bit of time because it's faster than swimming to the right. I don't know where my last save state was, so I will show that in another stage again, not right here, just to not play the entire stage again. And just start select at the end again and we're done. You swim up here and go into this stage, which is Rocket Barrel Ride. This stage is pretty straightforward. We have a bunch of rocket barrels that will shoot us to the top of the stage. You just have to memorize the way. The stage is a little bit mazy if you like. So this is just memorization on what barrel to choose. You can shoot over that green B, you just have to hold right and B, and you will make it. On SNES you had to jump again, but in this version you don't have to. Also on SNES, this stage asked of you to do a whole bunch of damage boosts to get through the B cycles. In this version, however, the Bs line up perfectly, so you can just skip them. When you get shot out of a barrel, they will not be in your way. They're very nice. I don't know why they even put them there when they're not actually relevant, but yeah. The bees in your way are never a thing when you get shot out of a barrel. Except of the last one, maybe. So that one is not interesting, that one is not interesting, neither is that one. So, go up here. Don't cut these jumps too short, otherwise you will fall down. That's bad now. That is really bad. Go away. I didn't expect him to turn around that quickly. This barrel right here is your worst enemy. When you jump into it, you have the opportunity to press A on the next frame. If you do that, you get the very first frame barrel shot there. If you don't hit it on that frame, you will have to wait for the barrel to turn around once. Because on the very next frame, the shot will be directing you to the upper right corner. And if that happens, it's a small time loss. It's not the end of the world, of course, but when you get consistent on that barrel shot, it actually saves you, like, I don't know, 4 seconds? So, you might want to practice that one. Go up here. Go up here. You can grab midway here, or just cut that corner a little bit closer and skip it. You can jump on this crimp when you approach him, and jump onto the next ledge, which looks something like this. So it actually saves going around, kinda, because you jump off him a little bit higher. So, yeah, it's just a very small thing. Don't hold directions here to have the whole barrel shot. Also, this B is not in your way, and this B is not in your way. So we go left here, through these. Nothing too much about it. Right here, we jump onto this ledge, team up, and throw Kitty into that one. That lines up perfectly with this B cycle, and now it's a little bit different depending on what Kong you have in lead. If you have Dixie in front, you can do this. You just hold right and B to land on this edge, and then jump into this barrel. If you have Kitty in the lead though, I would recommend doing this. hold left and B to deboost off of that B, and then go into that barrel. The reason why that is, I want to have Dixie for the next stage. So if I actually am Dixie, it would be slower to deboost with Dixie and then crack the DK barrel in the next stage and switch, because that of course takes time. So it's faster to just do this. You can shoot through the two Bs without deboosting, but it's very precise. I would consider that TES only, and I would recommend not doing it. So this stage is a stage that is pretty outstanding over the entire run, because it requires something of you that you would normally not do in a DKC any percent run. This stage is where we set up for a glitch that we will use in World 5. Creeping Clasps is a stage that has a lot of rope movement. Rope movement, of course, is faster than running, so I want to make sure that I make use of the ropes for as long as possible without getting hit by enemies. And also that is why I want to have Dixie in the lead, because Dixie climbs horizontal ropes faster than Kitty does. If you compare this, Dixie goes very fast, Kitty does not. He's a little bit slower, as you can see. And of course his hitbox is bigger, and he is pretty vulnerable on ropes because Dixie can actually flutter, so she can save herself when it's necessary. So you just jump up here, skip that one, skip that one. You can jump over him or take the lower path there, it doesn't really matter. So, what I do right here is I drop down of this rope and then flutter out of the fall into the barrel that is right below the rope where the lower clasp is creeping around. So this should look something like this. It's like in the middle and it shoots me into the bonus. You might think now, wait a second, this is an any percent speedrun, why do you enter the bonus? You don't need bonus games. That is true, I do not want to play this bonus. And that is why I instantly fail it. But it's important that we actually enter this bonus. It is pretty important, it sets up for a glitch. And it doesn't really matter that I pick this bonus, but it's the most convenient one to get into. It is very easy to fail. I think it's the fastest to fail. In a task I failed it in, I think it was 26 frames or 19 frames. It was really fast. No other bonus was that easy to fail, especially as it has to be a second bonus of a stage that I have to enter. So this one is the one that I would recommend using for the setup for the glitch. The second bonus in creeping clasps. And we just go on like normal and beat this stage. So this is a very mean spot because you would lose Kitty there very easily without having the ability to flutter. Do not underestimate these guys' hitboxes, they can wreck you pretty hard. Also, that would be a spot to lose Kitty to. And you're done. So, this stage is a very tedious stage where you have to go left and right and left and right and a little bit up and left and right and left and right and a little bit more up and left and right again. So what you want to do is we want to make use of that team jumping mechanic again, but not on this wall right here, because the boundaries of a stage are actually considered walls. Even though you think I'm clipping a little bit into it, it is still a wall. So, what I want to do is I want to make my way over to the very far right corner of this stage. Roll through these guys, jump over him, do not flutter, because you could flutter all the way over to this gap. However, as I mentioned earlier, fluttering is slow. So, you just make use of this roll, speed, jump off, take the small flutter there, jump in between these two guys, you can flutter, it doesn't really matter. Kill these beetles. I roll through them with Dixie because they are 2 and that gives me a small speed boost. And this is where the fun begins. I'm supposed to go into this barrel right now and go all the way back to the left again. And then go upwards a little bit. It is really tedious. This stage is very long. And my goal is high up. So what I want to do here is that I want to line myself up with this. You see this black line over Dixie, right? The vertical one. It is very easy to see. And these lines actually proceed over the entire wall. You can see another one right there. And right over Dixie right now. And these lines are all the way up to the higher ledge over us. So that's where I want to make Dixie be lined up. And I want to team up here. And this is something that you have to practice definitely to get consistent at. And it's also not really consistent because it can still screw you over. It is a difficult thing to do, but it skips a whole bunch of this stage. What you want to do is you want to do like consecutive team jumps all the way up the wall until the next level of the stage. Like this. Don't get too close to the wall, otherwise Kitty will fly over Dixie. So there's the next level. Important thing right now, do not go too high. If you go too high, this will happen. Right. Can't really get it right now. Okay, that worked. What can happen there? I didn't get the exact high enough jump there. What could happen there is there is something that we call screen scrolling. When you reach a certain height of a level, it sometimes happens that the camera, to be still like fixated on you, will get a race to just get you in your position. Because everything right below you is no longer important, and then it goes up and is on another level of the stage where you are now. That can happen every time you cross solid ground with this technique. So what you want to make sure is that you are not too high to have this screen scrolling trigger, because that messes up your team jumping. It can be, you saw it right there, that was dangerous. It can happen that you lose your state then. It's actually pretty generous on this one. The second one is a bit more difficult, I guess. But you do also want to be high enough to make the jump through the ground onto the next level. And then you do the exact same thing here again. It's the exact same thing. Let's see, this time, yeah, there it was. I saved myself by a quick team jump there, or team throw. There we go. No, it still wasn't it. Okay, I didn't get it this time. I'm pretty sure you will encounter it. If you encounter it, that means you were too high. So you just have to practice it. And there is a very, very convenient barrel right here that shoots you up to the goal. It's pretty easy. And this is the stage. So just to show you this one more time, instead of just playing the stage like normal, you go all the way over to the right. Line up, do the team jumps. I'm pretty sure I will get a fall right now. Pretty sure. That would be too easy. If you do fall down, don't be sad. It happens. It happens. If you wonder why I didn't do this in the first waterfall stage in this world, simply because the rocket barrels are so much faster and way more consistent. So you jump into that barrel and you're done. And that's the stage. It's pretty easy. Once you have mastered the technique, that is. But I'm pretty sure you will get through this just fine. It requires a bit of practice, but once you have this down, it's not that difficult. And you actually see how broken that mechanic is. This stage, there is nothing much into it. You could do some pretty bad out-of-bounds clips here too. As I mentioned, it's not allowed in this category, so we don't do it. play this stage just like normal. You have to just know and learn where the fish are and where the lurchins are. You want to eat the fish and dodge the lurchins, because this fish turns red whenever or turns a little bit more red whenever he eats a normal fish, a lurchin. And once he turns completely red, he will eat your active Kong or kill you when you only have one Kong. So you want to make sure that he's always eating some fish on your way. Sometimes he's a bit weird though and doesn't like to eat something. I should be fine. There's a fish right there. Yeah. Also, when you eat a fish, he will turn to his very first state of completely blue again. So it doesn't matter how red he is, one fish will make him turn blue all the way. Whenever on SNES it was always one level without any it wasn't important if it was an enemy or like an enemy lurchin or an enemy fish. It was always one level of color change. In this case it's a bad enemy that he eats. It's one level more to red. If he eats a fish, it's all the way back to blue. And then you just make it here. And here, that is what I mentioned earlier. When you buffer the input of A, B, and right through this black screen, Dixie will jump out of the water, and that's a little bit faster than swimming up to the surface. This boss, Squirt, he's a jerk. He is a jerk. He will wreck you pretty much. This boss is difficult, not even kidding. This water current can push you off pretty easily. It's very difficult to play this boss the intended way of running around these circle areas, because the hitbox of these platforms is very wonky, and the water of the hitbox of the water is also very wonky. So what you want to do here is try to jump against the current and stay on this position that I'm on right now. This will require practice, because if you press it too hard, you will still jump through the water and land in the middle and die. And if you don't press it high enough, like down far enough, you will not. If you don't jump against hard enough, you will still be pushed off. So it's just a matter of practice. Once you have it down, it's not too bad, but this boss can be tackling you pretty hard. So if you die to him by doing this, don't feel bad. We all did. Once it's done, get the ski. Cutscene. And that was World 4. So, we're now coming to the pretty broken world of this game. This game has one more world compared to the SNES version. It's the new World 5. And that world is pretty broken, because we will make use of very interesting glitches here. Glitches that are exclusive to this version, not to this game, but to this version. The glitch that I'm about to do also exists in DKC2 GBA, but it's for a speedrun it's completely useless. Because there is actually no way to make use of it except of one spot, and in that spot there is a faster way to get through that. So this game has one big glitch that is called time stop. Time stop is something that I will show you right now. So the stage starts off pretty simple. Roll slightly to the left there for a moment, otherwise you will roll into the porcupines or hedgehogs. So once you are here, I like to clear off these two enemies just to have enough space to do it. The time stop glitch is the big glitch in this game. What it actually is, it locks the game in the mode that it goes to when you switch, team up, or take a hit. Something like this. When you see, it's hard to see without enemies here, but whenever I team up, during the animation, everything in the game, except of bananas basically, because you see them moving, everything will be frozen in place. And if there was an enemy right here somewhere, he would be not moving while I'm teaming up, or switching, or taking damage. I think that is because the game wants to prevent you from taking damage while you do this. So it just makes you a little bit fairer for you. However, you can trick the game into that state. In that state, the game has some pretty weird properties. So all you need for that is both Kongs. Doesn't matter who's in the front. You need a ledge like this one, and you need a ledge that is close to water. So this ledge is pretty much perfect. What you want to do right now is you want to go onto the ledge. And on the very frame that you drop down this ledge, you want to team up. And if you do that correctly, it should look something like this. Oh, didn't get it. It's a little bit tricky on this one because you only have one shot. If you fall into the water, you can't try again because you can't get up here again. So if you get it, it's good. If not, it's not the end of the world. I'll show you. Killing me. I like to do it more out of motion. I don't like the buffered method here. Even though it's not really buffered because I still have to press the buttons on the correct timing. But I feel like when I'm just running onto it, I get it a little bit more consistent. Don't get it right now. That consistency. There we go. So you saw it because Kitty was actually staying in place while Dixie was falling down. I am now in this time stop mode. Even though you don't see it right now, you will see it soon. All you have to make sure right now, do not switch and do not take damage. That's important. If you do one of these two actions, that state will go away. The game is now locked in this time stop mode because I started the teaming up animation, but falling into the water made the game impossible to finish that motion or that animation. So you will see that when I grab a banana, it is actually not giving me a sound effect. And also, hey, there's enemies, but they do not move. They're frozen in their spawning position the game puts them into. All the enemies in this stage are now frozen in place, or in time stop. They do not move. Nothing in this stage actually moves. But these enemies have hitboxes, and that is where I said do not take damage. Everything above the water surface loses its hitbox, everything below water surface stays having a hitbox. So you have to be very careful to not take damage here, otherwise you will lose that time stop state, and it's important to have. I will show you what the stage is supposed to look like without time stop too, because as I mentioned, when you don't get it, you have to play it like normal. You can technically die and try again, but it doesn't save that much time. Especially not when it takes an eternity to get time stop to work. So what I want to do right now is, you see that bonus barrel right there. That is a very conveniently placed bonus barrel because we're still at the very start of the stage. This stage is very long, and it has its very first bonus right here and the second bonus at the far end of the stage. During time stop, as I mentioned, everything below water surface keeps its hitbox. That counts for this bonus barrel too. However, most of the actors are completely disabled, so when I enter this bonus level, it would not send me to the bonus it's supposed to send me to. But instead, it sends me to this bonus that I entered earlier in creeping clasps. That is because the game keeps track of the last bonus that you visited after console power up. It does not matter on what file you do that. So when you actually enter this bonus barrel without a bonus entered earlier, the game would soft lock. And you saw I completely spawned in a completely different spot than I have been before. You see, this is nowhere where I just spawned. Everything looked completely different. I was on solid ground, and there were no lurchins. So where did I spawn actually? And that's the clue of this glitch. You enter the first bonus. The bonus that I entered earlier was the second bonus of creeping clasps. So where I spawn right now is after the second bonus of the stage that I have just been to. And that is, as I just mentioned, very close to the goal of this stage. So by doing that, I just skipped the entire stage. Done. And that is what we call a storage warp. We stored a bonus earlier in the game's memory because, as I said, the game stores or memorizes the last bonus that you have been to. And it does that over the entire time the console or the emulator or whatever you play on is powered on. When you do a hard reset, that memory gets deleted. But as long as I play this game right now, that bonus will still be in the memory, and it will be the bonus that I enter when I enter a bonus barrel in time stop. It's very hard to explain, and I'm pretty sure you're very confused now, but it's an awesome thing to do. So we enter this bonus, we play the stored bonus from earlier. Really quickly failable. And we spawn after the second bonus, and that is because the bonus that we played was a second bonus. If I would have entered the first bonus in creeping clasps and did the exact same thing in this stage, like the time stop, it would place me underneath the barrel that I entered before. So that would be completely useless. But this way, I can just simply exit the stage because I skipped all of it. And I show you how long that stage actually is right now. So if you are bad like me and can't get time stop to work, you roll through these enemies, jump over these guys and play this like normal. You have to learn, of course, a lot of the enemy movements and cycles. It's not too difficult, but yeah. I think the more difficult part of this stage would be to see the enemies, because I think they kind of blend into the background a little bit. So hug the ceiling here and just jump to make it over that fish. Do this. Roll through these because there's a lot of enemies. It gives us a bunch of speed. Go down here. A little bit more to the left right there to get the fish. So, and this is important right now. If you lunge with on guard into a stop sign, the conchs will get launched forward at an insane speed. And that can launch you right into enemies if you're not careful. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So what I do here usually is I go upwards, position myself so that I'm not rushing into that pipe right here. Charge up and go. And once on guard is about to leave the screen, I'll stop myself because that's when you're about to hit this stop sign. And then if you wouldn't do that, this would happen. It doesn't really matter. Getting pushed down by the ceiling anyway. Bam, into the fish. Lose a Kong, bye. So I don't want that to happen, so what I make sure is, as soon as on guard is leaving the screen, I press right to stop my lunge and do the rest like normal. So I don't get launched into the fish there. And this is where I spawned after the storage warp. You see, that was way faster than playing the stage. Especially when you start running this game, this stage might be a very difficult one without storage warps. Yeah. So, second stage, Stormy Seas. We do the exact same thing again. So what I want to do here is we make our way to the first bonus. I roll onto that guy from the top because that gives me a small speed boost. So I want to make sure, I mean you don't have to, but I like to kill that guy because it makes the time stop a little bit easier. Crack that ground there. And now you have two ways to get time stop. You can either do it on this ledge right there, which is kind of weird because I don't know, I find it hard to see where the crack actually starts. You see there was still ground and I still fell. So you can do it here when you get it. There we go. That was time stop. But you can also do it on this thing here. I would recommend when you do it, when you try to get time stop on this thing right here, do it into this water pool. If you do it to the left and fail it, you're very easily entering that bonus, and if you do that without time stop, you're messing up the entire glitch. Because then you have this bonus stored, and that's a first bonus. So you have to store a second bonus somewhere else again, and of course, you have to play this bonus and then the entire stage like normal, which is slow. But now I have time stop. I enter this barrel. Fail it. Done. And that's it. If you can get time stop, stage should look like something like this. I will play just through it quickly, just to show you. I mean, this stage is not too difficult because you have basically infinite tries to get time stop. Unless you take damage from the fish down in the pool. You want to be a little bit lower there to not go into that clownfish. This stage lags a lot. That's also a nice thing with time stop. You just avoid all that lag in the storage warp. And yeah, this is the end of the stage. So in this stage it doesn't really save that much time because the on-guard section is very easy to go through and very fast. And right here, Sunken Sprues, we have another stage. In this stage though, it's a little bit tricky to get the time stop to work because we have only a bunch of ledges with very interesting hitboxes or collision. So I usually pick up this barrel and take it with me. You can do three things now. You can take this barrel, place it in the water, and do it out of the barrel. Like this. You can also... You see this guy is gone basically now. He's above water, but his shield, where it's below water, still has a hitbox. It's kind of interesting. You can do it also from the branch right here. Or you can do it off of the coin's shield. Just do whatever you feel most comfortable with. But make sure that this guy is not blocking your way through this hole right here. It's very important. So, same thing again. Everything is frozen in place. We play through the stage until the first bonus, which in this case is very far into the stage. It's about at midway. Make sure to not take damage. Just learn where the enemies are. Most important thing in this stage. If you had hit midway there, it looks like it's activated, but it's actually not. So if you die now, midway is not active. That fish can be a troll if you don't think about him. He's just blocking your way when you come from down below. And here's the first bonus. You enter it and do another storage warp. So, and you go to the end right there. Doesn't save that much time, but it's still a time save. Next stage, Cliffside Blast. This stage is a train wreck. This is one of the most difficult stages there actually are in this game. This is basically like a Bramble Blast from DKC2. It's a stage with a lot of free turning barrels, a lot of rope movement with enemies, and a lot of cycle-based movement. So just practice this stage. There is not much I can tell you about this, just don't rush it. That was not what I meant to do. Also the barrels are rotating in some weird ways, as you just saw. That was messing up the cycle. This stage is just not one of my favorites. Just play through it a bunch of times until you get it down. It's yeah, it's really bad. You can do a skip here if you have both Kongs. I don't, so I'll take the long way here. Otherwise you could go to the left there, lower left side, skip going to the right here, going to the left and doing a team throw into this barrel right here, into this one. But I only have Kitty right now, so you can climb up here. Don't go into that barrel. It's 2 on the right, 1 on the left. Kitty, it's a little bit tricky here because he's so fat. Also, the ropes starting points have poor collision. Sometimes you just won't grab the rope, even though you think you are at the highest possible point. This is how the stage is supposed to look like, just a little bit faster and without taking damage. I would recommend not rushing that stage because it can kill you. Same goes for this one. Curl Reef is an underwater stage with wind. So everything about this stage is enemy positioning and also the learning when the wind cycles at what spot. The good thing about this is nowhere near to RNG. It is all scripted. So where the wind starts to blow, the direction the wind blows, it's all scripted. So you can actually learn it pretty easily. And once you have it down, it's just, yeah, simply just playing. Right here, we have to go down. We don't see much though. What I can give you as a hint, line up yourself with this DK barrel, and then you can just simply go down through these fish. So that, because you will always get that cycle. If you line up yourself with this barrel and go down, you will not take damage. And then right here, the wind changes a lot from left to right. Just be on your guard to change directions very quickly, because the reefs are covered with lurchins. Don't swim too high there. Also, these fish are kind of tricky because sometimes they clip into the walls. Sometimes they don't. Right here, when you have both Kongs and the wind starts to blow, switch, because the wind will keep blowing over your switching animation, but the switching prevents you from being pushed back. It actually does save a little bit of time. And that's it. It's just learning the wind patterns and patterns of enemies. That's all you need to do for that stage. One of those stages that you have to actually just play a lot, and then you get it down. Surf's Up is the stage that I was referring to earlier. It's a sled stage, or pipeline stage, an autoscroller. At least the first half of it is. The second half is... What the fuck, Dixie? Where was she? Anyway, it actually is very easy, the second part of the stage, but the first part can tackle you even more. Same goes, press left here, otherwise you roll against the wall. You can also skip this sled by simply doing this. It's very easy, but of course slower. So what I want to do here, also, it still is a bit more difficult to play this stage without the sled than compared to the last one, because there is a lot of up and down movement, and there's a lot of bees positioned on these slopes that go upwards. So sometimes you have to switch, and when you lose Dixie, you have a problem. So we do not want to do that. We want to play this with a sled. What you want to do is you want to learn where enemies are on the ground. My hint is bees usually spawn in pairs or even in triples. So when you know there is bees, there's probably more. You will see me jumping sometimes really high up, and that sometimes prevents you from seeing enemies on the ground in time. Not want to ride the ceiling there because there's bees overall. Saw that the enemy is actually visible very late. So that's all what is very dangerous about this stage, is that the enemies sometimes are out of your sight and you will crash right into them. But once you know where they actually are, it's not that bad. Jump into that barrel. So, and this is important right now. I don't know if that's intended or not, I don't think so, but once you land here, just do this. Pick up the barrel, throw it against the wall, jump on it, done. And you will ride all the way to the end. You don't have to worry about anything. You cannot take damage. You land here, kill that one. You can also kill both, of course. And you're done. So that was what I meant when I said the second half of the stage is very easy. You just jump onto the tin can and that's it. Even if you don't hit it, I think there spawns another one. It's pretty free. The first path is more difficult. So Barbels Barrier. They took Barbels from World 6, from SNES, put them into this world. And Barbels has actually some strats you can do. The first stage is RNG. You play as On Guard. The first stage is RNG. Depends on where he shoots his minions. Your goal is to actually shoot them into his shield. Hitbox is very generous. Oh, that was weird. I don't want to take damage here. Let me try that again. Also, when he gives you good RNG, you can instantly launch these things. Let's try that again. Like this. That's bad, I can't reach that one. So that's what I mean with this is RNG. And then you just stab him. And he goes one level more to the lower deep sea. So what I do here is these lurchins that are blocking his vulnerable body, and also the clam that he just this clam rocket that he just shot upwards that is out of screen right now. They have very big hitboxes. So what I want to do is I want to lure the thing, this clam rocket, as close to one of these lurchins as possible, and I do that by doing a very specific form of movement which looks something like this. So I go down to trigger his face, wait until that thing is out of screen, and go down here, and that'll hit him. So I can already line up myself right here again, wait till he's out of screen, lunge 2 times, and go down. He will hit that one, and I can hit him instantly. Okay, that was too early, I thought he was already dead. That was my bad, but it doesn't matter. So let me show this again. Trigger the face, wait here. Lure him over. 1, 2. Oh, that was... okay. That was a little bit too greedy. But you get the idea. Once he touches that thing by a pixel, it's basically enough. And the last stage is pretty easy. You just trigger the face, go up, wait here, stab him. It's the same as on SNES, however this phase has one hit less on this version. Lunge, grab the coin. And that's Barbels. So, we cleared the special world and now we proceed with the stuff. I hate this waterfall, by the way. This is the hardest enemy in the game. Now we can tackle the stuff that is like in the SNES version when it comes to levels. Crevice creepers. I want to be Dixie here, usually. It doesn't matter too much because most rope movement is by jumping. But if you are Dixie, you can still save a little bit of time because we still have to climb some horizontal ropes. When you play this stage optimally, it looks pretty sick. Also, when you played SNES before, you will notice that some cycles are off and some enemies are positioned in different positions. So, it would look something like this. Press jump, but okay. You can just climb up here. On SNES, I think that doesn't work because one of the enemies is positioned to the right. Grab that rope, jump over this guy, climb up here. You can do all the jumping on this side, but if you are slightly too slow, you will take damage, and that results in having to get Dixie back and all that stuff, so just take the hook there. But yeah, this stage is just playing it casually, just very fast, and getting the timing down for when to jump off of the ropes. You see this, you can do that very fast, and it looks super awesome in my opinion. One of my most favorite stages. And that's basically it. This stage, Tearaway Toboggan, whatever, is another Autoscroller with wonky hitboxes. Same concept, you want to ride down slopes and jump up slopes. The most difficult thing about this stage is that the sled, when you land on the ground, does small hops. It can really bring you out of your rhythm. And also, the house corners, they have hitboxes. So if you do very weird jumps, you can sometimes take very weird damage on the corners of house roofs. If that happens, don't feel bad about it. It happened to all of us. So if I would have jumped a little bit further there, I would have taken damage from the roof. There is only just one spot that I can really say something about in this stage, other than just don't die, because it's an Autoscroller. Coming up very soon. Just do a high jump there. Right here, jump here, and then jump as soon as you hit the ground, so you will kind of clip onto that guy. Let me show this again. It's jump here, jump again. Saw that it's just watch my inputs there. It's really not that difficult. But if you don't do that technique, that jump or that gap with the 3 enemies in it can be a little bit weird. And that's pretty much this stage. Coming to another waterfall stage. This one I can say a little bit more about. This is BDB. On SNES we had something called BDB skip. I think we can call it whatever we do for this stage a BDB skip too. However, it looks a little bit different. We do not we do not team throw off of barrels onto ledges. We do the same wall climbing mechanic again right here on the left wall. Instantly when you start the stage, just team up and climb this wall. Be careful with screen scrollings again, even though it shouldn't be that big of a deal in this stage. But it can still happen. And there is another community placed barrel right here and right there. You just run. So you could do something like that. If you can't do this, it's somewhat precise. You can also switch and have Kitty in the lead and team throw up here. It's still faster than waiting for the barrel. If you do that, I just do that right now because that's what I usually do, and it also is more convenient for my Kong management. So I'll do this with Kitty, and there's the goal. So, this stage. Crackshot Croc. We play the stage as Squitter the spider. The most important part of this is understanding web mechanics. You can make these web platforms. To do that, you have to press R twice very quickly, once to shoot it and once to create it. When you shoot one that hits a wall, it instantly creates. And we will make use of both. So when you play this stage optimally, it looks pretty amazing because it's pretty fast paced. But if you play it too fast and some platforms don't create, or get positioned in a wrong way, you can pretty easily die. So what you want to do here is you want to get through these segments as smoothly as possible without losing too much time climbing walls. So what I would do here is I would try to be at a level that is actually what I want to be at as soon as I need to be at. So right there, you see, now I would hug this wall and I need to climb it. That's bad. So what I want to do instead is get good. What I want to do instead is something like this. So I don't need to stop. I just can run straight through. That doesn't work always. For example, right there, it was very hard to do. But if you can do that, of course it does save a good amount of time. See right there, my platform didn't create itself, and I fell. That can happen, and that sometimes happens, usually when you really can't need that. So also you want to make sure to kill as less enemies as possible, because every time you shoot a normal web to kill an enemy, it's like a small window of frames that you don't run, so that's of course losing time. So if you can jump over an enemy, that's of course better. And that was bad because you do not want to take damage before the midway point, which is coming up pretty soon. But if you can avoid it, it's better to not do it. Of course, but it also, in this case, it's actually required for a damage boost. I mean, there is of course a DK barrel, but after that I think there is no. So I kill one enemy there to jump over the other one. Kill there, the enemy. So I'll make a save state right there. Important thing right there is, do not kill this enemy. You want to do a very specific technique of movement and taking damage right here, which should look something like this. Run into him, re-grab the barrel, jump into the lava, create a platform, because that gives you invincibility. You cannot do this the way I skipped the other lava pits, simply because there is a wall blocking you up. You see right here, I can just simply jump over it, right? If I do that right here, there is this wall blocking me off. That's bad. So what I want to do here is I want to run into him, take damage, re-grab my Kong, and land into the lava and then do this jumping. That was a little bit too far. Okay, the damage boost there was actually okay, because there was another barrel, but that would have messed up my Kong movement. Jump over that one, kill that one. You don't need to kill it, but I'd like to do it because it looks fancy. These guys, be careful with. They can wreck you. And you see, I make use of these platforms that are created by the walls very quickly. Oh, didn't mean to do that. That was weird. So here you need to wait for that B. You can't make it past that B. That was bad. You need to wait for it to go to the other side again. That shot was coming at a very bad timing. So, as I mentioned, shoot the web, wait for the B to be gone, and then just take this. If you take damage here, it's not too bad. You can just deboost through the lava too, and you're done. Of course, only if you have two Kongs. If not, you shouldn't deboost, because that results in a death. Lamgrin Lunge. This stage has very interesting hitboxes. Also, just one thing to mention, playing Crackshot Croc, the stage with the spider, really fast is not easy. It's one of the more difficult stages. So if you don't feel that safe with fast spider movement, take it a bit slower. It's really not that big of a deal, but it's definitely faster than dying. So take your time with this stage. Don't rush it, especially with platforms, web platform creating that can go terribly wrong. So yeah, take it slow there. And if you feel more comfortable with the spider, try to give it a bit more speed, but don't overdo it. So Lamgrin Lunge, as I mentioned, bad hitboxes, snow, bad music. You can roll through that guy, he gives you speed because you're coming from the upper hand. You do not want to roll through these guys, you want to dodge them with jumps. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's nothing really much to the stage. Just optimizing your movement. Which I obviously still have to do. You can roll through him as well. He's on a slope, he will give you speed. Oh, that was a very badly timed jump. Don't enter that bonus. If you could get time stop in this stage, that would be perfect, because the first bonus is right over the start, and the second one is right at the end. You can deboost there. I'll show you. At the end, you can do a deboost, which is actually a good thing. I usually do it, but I just slowed down and I could get a good cycle on the Lamgrins as I was talking. But usually it's a deboost is definitely a good thing there, just for Kong management and because you don't have to wait there. And it's hard to get through that section without taking damage, in my opinion at least. But yeah, this is just very simple. Just dodge the Lamgrins, playing through the level. Oh, weird. So what I usually do here is this. Just deboost with Dixie to be Kitty here. And then we come to Eric. Not Eric, Bleak. And Bleak is very different compared to SNES. You can't skip him, and you can't really skip his phases. And you have to learn where he shoots. His shooting patterns are way faster than on SNES. So if you're not prepared or you're not paying attention, you can easily take damage here. However, there is safe spots, even with Kitty. I will try to show you these. It's not too precise once you know how it works. And you can't always stay there because you still have to move around to give hits to Bleak. So it might look something like this. Of course, this is RNG where he spawns. Just don't get hit. It's kind of important to keep your Kong. And his hitbox is sometimes very weird. Yeah, that's bad. I want to keep my Kong for later. Bleak can be a huge troll. Sometimes he just decides to not take damage. Okay, that was good. So now I line myself up with this. That's good. You see the snowball at the front in the middle, right? And that casts a shadow. And that shadow lined up almost with Kitty's arm or shoulder is a safe spot right there. As you can see, it's not too precise. But it definitely makes these balls a bit easier. And now, when he shoots all his balls, I will take damage. And wait with the iframes right here to hit him, and he's dead. That's why you want to have both Kongs, because you can just wait there. That saves going over to the middle after his snowballs fall. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wait for the last cycle of his multiple shots, and that's where you take damage and you're done. World 6, Razor Ridge. This stage is really well tested on SNES, and it's very well tested in this version because the skips are a bit different, but they still work. So this bee is, I think it's the only bee that we kill. Just make sure to mash the button right there, otherwise you will be slightly too low and hit the helmet of that guy. Be careful to not pick up that barrel, that would be bad. So what you do here is, I'm not quite sure if you deboost here or not. I think you don't. Okay, I think you do deboost here. Yeah, you deboost either there or here. You can pick up the tin can and kill that bee. Otherwise you just deboost, and then you deboost here through these two copters. Otherwise you take the deboost up there and fly to the two copters. I think it's about the same speed, it doesn't really matter. So that was midway. I take the upper path right there. It's a bit slower, but it's safer. Wait here, because that guy comes up. Right there, you fly over the bees, over the copter. Line yourself up right here, just hug the wall and you will not touch the bee. Don't need to pick that up. Go up here. Hug the wall and you will not touch the bee. Go down, cut that guy. If you're early enough, you can make it below him. Otherwise, I would recommend waiting in the lower right corner there until he's gone. Same goes for this bee. You can simply skip it. It's a little bit more precise to not take damage, that is. I mean, the clip itself is also very easy. Fly over these bees. You see there's a bunch of skips you can do here. Fly down, fly up, and one more time, hug the wall, and you're good to go. I would recommend, if you are Kitty right here, to switch to Dixie. It makes the next stage far more easy. So you do this. A bit easier, I guess. This stage is another autoscroller, a vertical one this time again, and it's super boring. It's a very convenient spot to lose focus on, especially when you're me and try to read chat during that. It's very dangerous, don't do that. The only thing that you have to learn in this stage is enemy patterns, because some of the enemies have movement patterns that can troll you a lot. There's some bees that you would think they move more to the left or more to the right, and you think, hey, I can go, but you actually can't because they instantly turn back and kill you. So just make sure you know when to move to what position, and that's pretty much it. For example, I think it's coming up soon. Once that bee gives you space, just jump over to this rope. So right here, it's very important. There's two things you can do here. First of all, you have an enemy right here that is blocking your path, and that is one of these trolley enemies. Look at this. This bee flies very far into the wall, but in the air, it's actually turning back right very instantly. So when you would be like, wait for the bee, okay, he flies to the air and then he turns back. You can make that, but he can still kill you if you're not on your guard. You can also do this. I mean, you can do this, but there's no point in doing this. What I mean, you can do this. But if you do that, make sure to not press a directional button. If you do that, this happens. If you press left, everything is fine, you will land in the barrel. If you press right, you will die. So when you take the barrel strat there, just don't press the directional button, otherwise just wait for the bee to go right and then pass it. Because there you have more time to do that. I think that might be the most dangerous spot in this stage. These three guys are just all bark, no bite. That guy's dangerous, I always die to him. Doesn't matter though. I should be fine. If I die, I have safe states. These guys is like left, right, and that's it. So once that guy crosses, you can just hug the ceiling once the screen scrolls to jump and finish. That's pretty much Confused Cliffs. It's just a normal autoscroller. This stage is tricky. Floodlit Fish is a difficult stage. It really is. The DKC3 fish, same as the DKC2 fish and the DKC1 fish, is very vulnerable. He's not nearly as powerful as DKC3's Nest fish, where you just, while you're in the stabbing animation, nothing can hurt him but a lurchin in a closed state. So in this case, you need to be very careful. Also, it's supposed to be dark in this stage, and there are these clownfish that give you light if you need it. However, in my opinion, these stages are very bright, so even without a light, you should be able to see everything just fine. So don't really care about the light fish. I will not do it. Go down here. Be careful, this fish can be a troll. If you are too far to the left here, like cut this corner too close, it can happen that you actually hit him, or that he hits you. So I mean that works. If you're a little bit more to the right, he can hit you. Same goes for that one. You see that if you hug the wall to the right here, the one I'm just looking at, he will swim in your back and he will kill you. So stay more to the left, let him pass, and then kill him. These troll fishes are very spread throughout this entire stage. Same goes for these guys. They're also very dangerous. If you take damage there, don't feel bad. We all did. Pretty sure. You could power through this next stage very quickly by killing the enemies. However, I will not do it. What I usually do is this. I do this and wait here a second. Hide here and wait here a second. And right there you can just go. You can still try to kill them, of course. Oh, you can... Nice, you can clip there. But you can take damage very easily, so... Let me try something. Okay. I thought about deboosting there, but it doesn't work. So, however you get through this, if you want to go for YOLO mode, if you do it a little bit safer like I do, do whatever you feel most comfortable with. I definitely take the stage a little bit more careful because this stage can kill you. Here you can clip right here, skip the cycles that way. Go left here, because these guys are a little bit more easy to dodge than the right ones, because the right ones come up, these ones go down, so you're easier to dodge these ones than those. And you want to have a hit here, just to be safe. You want to hack the left wall on this last descent, and just swim down. Hack the wall and swim down, count 1, 2, 3 patterns, or 3 sets of lurchins, and then you go right. Be careful to not take damage from these guys. If you do, that's what the hit is for. So, and right here, this is the last thing. Go through this. If you take damage here, it's not too bad. Otherwise, just take this a little bit slower. If you already taken damage and you only have 1 Kong left, to not die here, because that would be a huge setback. So optimally, you would not take damage there. I said you would not take damage there. Be careful, Ongard likes to attack enemies on his own. And you want to make sure to launch into this stop sign, because what happens is this. The Kongs, as I mentioned earlier, keep their speed. So they reach the exit way earlier than if you would swim normally. I will try to show that in comparison. So that's slow. So what I do instead is I just launch and I'm there. And the launch actually charges very quickly. So after 2 steps forward, and On-Guard is actually fully charged and you can release to get the launch. Pothole Panic is a stage that is meant to be played with a lot of animal friends. We do pick up some of them, but not all of them. You can basically skip all of them. You can even skip the parrot, but it's slower. Because the parrot is actually pretty fast. What you want to make sure of, this is a small time saver, is do not press B when you enter the stage. Or you can press B, but do not roll off of this ledge, because if you do, you will not crack up the parrot barrel there. Like this. If you roll, you can't break it by falling onto it. So if you just fall, then it works. But not out of rolling. Just a small thing. So, and then just make sure to not hit the bombs. I will say something about the bombs hitboxes soon. Stay up here, very high. Hug the left wall. Kill the birds. Take the fish. As soon as he opens, you can just charge. Don't kill these guys because they have this weird knockback. Somewhere around here, there's a very far lunge you can do here. It's somewhat precise. If you can get it quickly, it's fine. If not, just do it with this technique. It's also nice. Otherwise, you would do something that's supposed to be looking like this. Yeah, you have to go into a specific distance. I usually just go for this spike on the ground right here that I'm now over. Like that stalagmite. And then I tap slightly up. Slightly. You need a little bit of height. If you don't get a little bit of height, this happens. You hit this wall. That's bad. So you need a little bit of extra height, so I just tap up a little bit. And of course my timing and positioning was bad there. So if you lose the fish, it's not that big of a deal, because right here you can dismount him. Swim up. You can take Ellie here. When I'm Kitty, I usually do it, because she gives me an extra hit. Right there, so I don't lose my Kong. But you can also deep boost with Kitty. I also take the spider just to have a hit right there. Careful, he throws bombs. You want to finish this stage with 2 Kongs. That's important. Because you need 2 Kongs for this stage at the beginning, and the DK barrel is a little bit further into the stage. It's not too big of a deal, but if you can enter it with 2 Kongs, it's definitely a convenient thing. So what I want to do here in Ropey Rumpus, on SNES you had this cool technique called the 2-1 jump, which basically is it's not that far. You want to be here with 2 Kongs and the DK barrel is here, but if you can skip going here, breaking it and going back, it's a good thing. So what you want to do here, on SNES you would do a 2-1 jump, which is basically a teaming up and a very high jump after that to hit a barrel that shoots you upwards. That barrel is not in this version, but we can do another cool thing to climb this wall to have the exact same effect, which is this. Same thing again. You don't have to worry about camera scrolls here, there are no. And as soon as you reach the ledge, jump onto it, jump onto this rope. If you miss the upper one, you just take the lower one, it doesn't really matter. Just be careful to not jump into the bee there, so yeah. Go onto the ropes, be careful. That bee gets scrolled in late because of the camera scrolling left and right. So if you just go for it, I'm pretty sure you will take damage. Let's try and see. I never tried that actually. Oh, it works. Okay. I don't know if the cycle was still active when I was waiting there or not, so just be careful, that bee might hit you. And this is what Midway was. It's a very convenient way to skip the first half of the stage, basically. Or a bunch of it. And here is just, yeah, from this point on it's just normal playing on. You can power up here pretty quickly. When those green bees passed you, they actually despawn. They're no longer there. You can power up there, you will not hit them. So don't be scared. Here you have to wait for the cycles of these 2 bees. On SNES you can just go through that. In this version you can't. You should make this cycle if you don't stop. Whether you take this upper path, it's a little bit slower, but I think it's a little bit safer. You can do that, otherwise you just take the lower path and go through the bees. It's nowhere nearly as difficult, so as it would appear. So you just, yeah, let's just do this again. Also, let's try something. Oh, that was not good. Let's try this again. I had very low jumps there. That's a close thing. Just be careful. And you want to keep Dixie here, because it's a lot of horizontal rope movement, and Dixie is faster on horizontal ropes than Kitty is when it comes to climbing. When it's jumping off of these ropes, it doesn't really matter. Kitty can jump off of them just as fast. So this is what the lower way looks like. It's a little bit faster, I think. And then we have the additional boss of this game, which is Croctopus Crush. And this boss is pretty much RNG. It can give you very good RNG and save you a bunch of time. But if you have a PB with very good RNG on this boss and you run against that, you will most likely lose time to this boss. How this boss works is it's pretty much this green thing right there. And you see these 3 snappy things on his top and on the left and right corners, basically. So what you expect of him to do is to reach out for you, and you have these 3 platforms to stand on. He will always start with a specific sequence of arm grabs onto random locations, and once they are done, they get more per phase. Starts with 3. Once that is done, there is bombs falling down from the ceiling. These bombs themselves, they can hurt you, but their explosions will. It basically works like a TNT barrel. However, you can pick them up. You will have to position yourself onto the bombs and lure his arms into grabbing you and reaching the bombs, making them explode, hurting himself. I'll just show it to you. You see that? So, 1, 2, 3. And now the bombs will start falling. That was good RNG. Now I have to see where the bomb is. There it is. Second and third. That was actually decent. So, after 3 hits, phase changes. Be careful when he comes up after a phase swap, because he will kill you if you stand on that platform in the middle. And it's still possible to play this boss as Kitty. However, it's super difficult in my opinion, and I wouldn't do it. I think if I would lose Dixie, I would kill myself and try again, rather than playing this with Kitty and dying at the very end, because the last phase is where Dixie is really worth it. So right now I think he lunges for me 5 times, or he grabs for me 5 times. So let's see. Or grabs randomly 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 5. Yeah. Oh no, it was 4. So, but I can still do the same thing again. I just lure his arms. So he can be nice in this phase and give you good RNG, and having the bombs drop where you stand, so you don't have to move at all, basically. Just away from the explosion, of course, because cool monkeys don't stand at explosions. But in this phase now, everything gets screwed up. He now reaches out for you with 2 tentacles, or 2 arms, and he no longer follows a certain pattern. It doesn't matter where you stand. He can also grab somewhere completely different. So all you have to do is dodge his arms and hope for good bombs to drop down. It's really, really annoying. 1, 2, and this is where Dixie really pays out. Otherwise he would be stuck there. Also the bombs are exploding very fast, so all you can do here is hope and pray. That was actually pretty good. What was that? That was okay. I will show you something. You might think, wait, what happens when I fall down? The lower platform right there, you can just simply jump onto again. However, don't touch him in the water because he will kill you. And right there, there is a barrel. So that's the strat for the 3rd phase if you lose Dixie. Whenever he reaches out for you, and this, you would pretty much just wait on this platform. And when he reaches out for you, just roll down, and when the air is clean again, just shoot up. You can also just wait on this platform, roll off, and jump back onto it, dodging his attacks that way. Don't even try to maneuver it by jumping, you will die. You can also do an interesting funny time stop here, which is not helpful at all instead of soft blocking the game, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And that opens up the way to the last world. So you might think now, wait, do I actually need the additional world? Yes, you do. If you don't play the additional world that is exclusive to this game, you will not open this pathway. And that's why I play that first and then go over here just to get rid of backtracking. So this world is World 8 in this case, it's the last one. We have another rope level. There's not much to it. It's actually pretty simple. We have these conveyor belts here. Make use of them because they carry you a little bit quicker when they go to the right. If they go to the left, make sure to jump a lot because they would carry you back. And of course, just dodge enemies. And these rolling hedgehogs. So this one, for example, would carry you back. So you want to jump off it immediately and hovering through the air, which is faster. But you see, it's just nothing really to it. You can jump over that B, that works. Make sure to not jump over that B and being like, hey, there's free space, jump, and then you hit a bonus right there. That would be very bad. So make sure to go the lower way. Because we still need our bonus from earlier stored in the memory. We still have more to do. There is two more you can, two more storage warps you can do. I will only go for one more. However, I will show you the second one, but I usually don't go for it. Because in my opinion it doesn't save that much time. So don't get bonked by these guys. Just follow the bananas here, that's a good thing to do. Adjusting to these patterns right there. If you would, I'm always a bit scared. I think you can jump off of the very corner of this conveyor rope to the right, and don't take damage from the bees. But I'm a little bit paranoid, and I usually don't do it that way. Let's try actually. Nice, I soft locked. That happens sometimes if you hack. If you hack the corner of a conveyor rope, the game sometimes freezes. I don't know why that is. It's really weird. That's the second time that happened to me. Just don't ever. That's what I usually do. Do not ever ride a conveyor rope until the very end. So I usually just drop down here, drop down, and then flutter. But yeah, that works as you see. So just be careful because no one wants a game freeze. That would be run over. Same goes for these. Don't ride it until the end. Better jump off a little bit earlier. It's definitely a good thing. This stage is the next big instance of RNG. Creepy caverns, or as I'd like to call it, crappy caverns. There are these ghost barrels. One little thing I can do at the very beginning. If you pick up this barrel, get rid of it, or don't. It doesn't really matter. But do not hit this guy with a barrel. Do not hit him. Because you can actually make use of him and save, like, I don't know, a second maybe. So if you pick it up, instantly kill that bird. Otherwise, just do a flutter over the barrel and lure that guy with you and use him, jump over this bee. So it's actually a little bit faster than waiting for the barrel to disappear below the bee. And the barrel will always point towards the bee. So if you can make use of that guy, it's very convenient. And then you just have to wait for the barrel right there to point to the correct direction. It might take an hour, it can be faster though. Same goes for this one, we want up left. The thing is, this can basically take forever. On SNES, the barrels had a clause, I guess, that gave you the correct thing after a maximum amount of spawns. In this case, I remember one attempt where I lost like 20 seconds to 2 barrels each. So it was 40 seconds of bad RNG plus the others that went a bit poorly. So these barrels can kill your run. It's pretty damn annoying because you can do nothing about it. Just have good reaction time and dodge them or get them quickly. Midway. Interesting thing, another one. Pick up this barrel and kill this bee. You can just run through it. Wait for this one, we want upwards of course. That was close. Shoot here. So this barrel is a troll. If you jump into this barrel and hold down, I think A and right or something like that, you are pretty likely to hit the upper red bee, not the one that that's head you see right there on the right corner of the screen, but the one that is at the lower left. Or it is still at the right now, it's not loaded, or you don't see it, but it is on the left wall basically. I will show you. Right there. When you jump into that barrel, just do absolutely nothing. It's the best thing you can do. Otherwise you are likely to lose a Kong. So if I would do it that way, press the wrong button there. Sometimes you take damage there. Maybe it's only with Kitty? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe not. I know I had that happen where I just pressed any direction. I don't know. I don't think I pressed left because that wouldn't make any sense. But it was still weird. So when you enter this barrel, just do yourself a favor and press no buttons. And then when you land, you wanna jump into the red bee that is coming up. Just jump into it. It doesn't matter how you do it, just do it. So you take damage, and you can jump through that bee, or through the bees, and dodge the ghost barrels that way. So you don't have to adjust yourself to RNG, you can just make use of iframes and skip the enemies that way. It's pretty convenient. It's basically the same as on SNES, even though in this version it's not nearly as precise or tight when it comes to the timing. So, Lightning Lookout. Lightning Lookout is, first of all, very convenient to start with Kitty, because we will make use of another time stop glitch here. Time stop, as I mentioned, freezes everything in place. In this case, it also disables the lightning that occurs in this stage. This stage is usually one of the very difficult ones, even though on this version it's not as difficult because the lightning strikes less frequently and the hitbox is not as... let's just say it's a bit more generous. So this stage is not as scary. But if we can have no lightning, of course that's way better. So what we do about that is using the time stop glitch. Because we actually can use it here because we have a ledge and we have water. Pick up Dixie here. Don't do what I just did, or what I once did, which looked something like this. When you try to fail and it doesn't work. Okay, never mind. Once I just jumped a little bit too late and Kitty hit the bee instead of the barrel hitting the bee and I died. It was pretty embarrassing. So, get Kitty, get Dixie, and then wait for that lightning. Sometimes it's there, sometimes not. That was the first try time stop. So, as you can see right now, everything is frozen again. This N has no longer a hitbox. The barrel has a hitbox as long as we are above the water surface. If we go into, it does not. So What we can do right now, after getting this time stop, you can just roll through this entire stage. No of the enemies will have hitboxes and there is no lightning. So you can actually play this stage, wait a second. Play this stage without having to worry about literally anything at all. You can just simply roll through it, and the reason why I said it's good to have Kitty in the lead is because Kitty is still faster when it comes to rolling compared to Dixie's running. So you can, and because there is no enemies here, you can just simply roll all the time when there is no water. I mean, there are enemies, but of course they're completely useless. You can jump through everything as long as it's above the water surface. Don't worry about entering that bonus. Even if you jump into it, there is no hitbox because the barrel is above the water surface. The cool thing about this is if you reach the end here, you have to switch to get everything to normal state again, otherwise you can't finish the stage because even the goal disables its hitbox. So just switch and you will get all the bananas that you recently collected. It's kind of funny. Or you get them earlier, of course, but now the sound for all of them appears at once. It's kind of funny. That was the time stop way to beat this stage. Of course, there is also a way to play this stage with a storage warp. That's why I made a save state right here. The first bonus is actually also at the, like, kind of close to the start. You could still time stop from here. So if you say, let's say you got time stop and you want to use the storage warp for this, dive down here and enter this bonus to get into the stored bonus again. Oh, that was pretty quick, like that. However, that brings you to the second bonus, but it disables your time stop. So what you have to do again is either get time stop again, which is bad, as you can see right here, because you have to wait for the bees, and that's bad. Wait for the lightning there, and that's bad. So you could get time stop here somewhere again, but of course it's again a very precise trick, and if you take damage, it's bad. You can do it again. That's why I don't go for time stop, because you still have, after the bonus, you still have a bunch of stage left to play without, or a little bit of stage to play, that was close, without the time stop glitch, and I don't want to do that, so that's why I usually just go for a normal time stop and that's it. And don't use a storage warp. Wait a second, I want to try something. Just something out of curiosity. Okay, never mind. But yeah, that's pretty much what you can do. You can do a time stop and play through the stage like normal, or you can get another time stop right here. Hello, lightning. It doesn't hurt you, no worries. Hello, lightning. Hello, lightning. What happens if I switch here? Okay, it doesn't hurt me. Sweet. So, also playing that stage with Kitty and switching at the end to make everything active again is nice, because it gives me back Dixie to the lead, which is nice for this stage. Because it's coin dozer collision, and this stage sucks. These guys' hitboxes are very weird. They will try to bounce you all around the place, so be careful with them. Another conveyor rope. Hold down the jump button here. That way you can make the jump onto the conveyor. If you get the certain height for that. You can jump right up here. You don't even need to jump onto the coin. On SNES you need to do that. In this version you can just jump onto the next ledge. It works without Don't jump onto that guy, into the bonus up there. You can reach it. Don't do that. It's dangerous. See, that would happen if you were not high enough, like I was. So be careful to get a very high jump before doing the flutters over the large gaps. Otherwise you will not get the correct barrel cycle there. And if you don't hold the jump button down, then you will not jump high enough to make the distance to reach the conveyor. Fluttering is a good friend in this stage, but still, if you don't need to flutter, don't do it. I might not make it either. Okay. Yeah. You want to jump onto the first one, and then do flutters after that. I just forgot that. It's kind of not thinking for a second. But yeah, other than that, there's not that much to the stage. Just be careful with these coin dozers, because they can, if you hit them in the wrong way, they will bounce you away. It's kind of dangerous. And that's it. So, onto the last stage, and in this case it's another storage warp stage. First of all, this stage has a nice gimmick, or a nice gimmick would be a little bit of an overstatement, but this stage has a gimmick. If you press left, and then you will swim to the right. If you press right, you will swim to the left. So your left and right controls are reversed. Up and down stays normal though. So you could play the stage like normal, of course, but you could also do a storage warp. So what I want to do here, you will see it in my inputs that how this controlling works. What I want to do here is I want to get into the first possible spot, which is right here. Kill this guy. And then get time stop on this platform. It doesn't matter on what side, I just do it here for fun. There we go. Okay, so make sure to not take damage, especially this green fish right there. They can be a troll. Be careful with those. If you take damage, it would be over, because time stop would be gone. Otherwise, just make your way all over to the first bonus, which is right there. The fish spawning position is very convenient, so you can make it through there. And then fail this bonus again. And you are at the end of the stage. Congrats. So, there is also, of course, a way to play this without time stop. I will show you that real quick. Okay, my save state was bad. I'll start from the beginning then. Because even without time stop, this stage has some time saving. Hope I can remember how to do it. If you thing though is that we definitely want to be Kitty for this one, so we would want to switch here or just deboost somewhere. I would switch and then just not take damage. Once you like pass this line, you can charge up for a supercharge, and you will always kill that guy because he gets scrolled in late. Hug the wall, swim right there. Kill that enemy, be careful with those guys. Make sure that you have Kitty in the lead. Once you reach this, charge up again, charge all the way to the other side, so that you hug the wall, swim down, you will clip behind these guys. It's a bad cycle now because I waited. And once they do this, I will charge into a animal stop sign right now. And as I mentioned earlier, when you supercharge into an animal stop sign with On Guard, then you will keep your speed from the charge. And I want to make use of that by extending that charge I'm getting with the Kongs as long as possible, or as far as possible. So I hope I get the controls right, because I haven't done this in a long time. Usually I just storage warp to the stage, and it's definitely the faster way, but if you don't get the time stop or whatever, you have to play it this way. So this is a technique I call Rocket Kong. I think you just press up and mash A or something. Let me just try this. Yeah, works. Almost. Yeah, that's how you do it. It only works with Kitty though. With Dixie, for some reason, it does not work. But if you do that with Kitty, you just hold up and mash A, and you will make it all the way through over the two Lurchins, hopefully. And then you lose your speed there. These fish can have very weird cycles, depending on how you scroll them onto the screen. That was bad. These fish, however, are very conveniently placed. Their cycle is very good. And that's it. And there's only one thing left to do. It's the last boss in Castle Chaos. So we have another good way of killing this guy, because it basically works the exact same way. We would have to wait for a barrel to spawn to hit his head 2 times. We can get the first hit very quickly and the second hit with a barrel. So you mash through the text. It's 2 text boxes, then he moves over. You wait somewhere around here. I usually just wait at the on the right part of this wooden thing in the background. I don't know what that is. That's where I usually wait. And when he goes down, I start. And that works. So then you pick up this barrel and hit him, and he's dead. So just do that again. So that was the second hit. And then the real boss fight starts. So for this one I instantly want to switch to Kitty. There's a bunch of tech boxes here. And this is a little bit more difficult. This boss is very technical. You can do a lot of quick hits on him that save a lot of time. But if you mess them up, you're very likely to lose a Kong. So this boss depends a lot on how risky you want to play. And I will show you some different strats for each phase. So once this starts, we switch to Kitty. We wait here, grapple this, and now we wait until you see him, until his his right hand, so the hand that is basically in the background, passes the barrel or is like over the barrel, then we jump over him and hit his back. We do this again. So, don't jump too far to the left, otherwise you will jump into him and lose a Kong. And then, when you are on this side, he jumps up now and starts his next cycling. So, I want to be jumping onto the grapple there to instantly call the next barrel. And as soon as it does, I will drop down, pick up the barrel, hold up and left, do a high jump, and I think on the peak of the jump I want to throw the barrel to the up left. That will then hit his propeller thingy. Sounds difficult, it should look something like this. Yeah, got it. That looks pretty fancy. So once the barrel lands, you do this, and then you miss. Perfect. Once the barrel lands, it's not too precise, but it's also not free. If you can get it, it's good. Otherwise, just deal a casual hit there. So right now, this is most likely the most precise hit. You want to jump onto the first grapple there, because that's the one that summons the barrel. Instantly drop down, run over to the right side, where the barrel spawns on the wooden platform. Jump to the left with the barrel and hit K. Rool as soon as he turns around. If you do it too late, he will be gone. If you do it too early, he will not be turned around yet. So it can be tricky, but this hit saves a bunch of time if you can land it. Got him. So he fell at a very perfect position right there, because I can instantly reactivate this, go back to the right, wait for him, and hit him. That was a little bit slow, but it doesn't really matter. So, and that was this phase. It's already over. And this hit can go terribly wrong. Sometimes he falls like right below the active grapple, so you need to be very careful. When you reactivate it, you sink down while he comes up right down below you, and he can hit you, and you don't want that. So be careful with this phase. It can be over pretty quickly, but he can kill you pretty quickly too. If you don't do that, just do it casually. It's not saving that much time, but it's definitely that much. It's cool, and it saves seconds that add up if you can get the quick cycles on this phase. But it's definitely a more advanced technique. So for this phase that's coming up, I want to switch to Dixie, because there is also quick hits we can do here. Once the platform goes away, wait here, do this, duck here, jump onto this, get the barrel, place it. So right now, that's important. As soon as he is gone, get up, pick up the barrel, turn around, jump and throw it onto his back. It's not easy, but if you can make it, you should then be careful to instantly flutter and re-land on the platform. It might look something like this. And then you reactivate this 3 times for some reason. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why. You only get 1 barrel though. Wait here and hit him. And there was that phase over. If you don't want to do that strat, because that is very precise and very timing based, you can of course just wait for him there, do it casually or whatever. Like pick up the barrel, wait for him right there, do this. Reactivate this right here. Be careful with that jump though, that can be also a little bit difficult. So there's different strats on how to tackle this phase, but the one that I just showed you at the beginning is the fastest, but it's also the most difficult one. And right now there's only the last phase coming up. It's another 2 hits, and if you didn't screw up the first phase, the grapple on your side should be the active one. You can just activate it, instantly drop down, and grab it. You grab the barrel and instantly hit K. Rool with it, so like this. So, and then you wait. You can also flutter over, it doesn't really matter. For this grapple though, you have to wait. If you instantly activate it, he might be too close to it, so you actually take damage from K. Rool. Or if he's still too close, then the barrel falls onto his propeller jetpack thingy and it breaks, and then you have to move all the way over to the left again and get a new one, and that messes up all the cycles. So make sure that he's gone. Then it breaks by the lightning, so make sure that you wait for a moment here. And then deal the hit this way. And that's it. That was the second hit, he's now dead. But do not approach him until he's gone. He can still hit you. His hitbox is active as long as he is on the screen. We all learned that the hard way. And when he's dead, just pick up the coin. And that is where time ends. As soon as you touch the coin, timing ends. And congrats, you just finished your first DKC3 GBA any % run. Or maybe second, or whatever your run was, what number run that was. So I hope that was a helpful tutorial. If there's still any questions, if I didn't explain something detailed enough, just let me know. Leave a comment in the section down below. Ask away. I will try to help you out with whatever strat you need help with. So yeah, that's DKC3 any %. Thank you very much for watching. Maybe just a quick word after all, why exactly I write this, why I like this run so much is because it starts off very glitchless. It still allows for a lot of platforming, but it also gives you the joy of breaking the game with weird glitches. So it has a little bit of both for everyone, I guess. Like glitchless plus glitches, platforming plus hey game, let's break you. And if you like those runs, I would recommend giving this a shot because the run is actually pretty fun. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope this was helpful. This helps you learning this category if you're interested in it, or just understanding the mechanics behind the run. So yeah, take care.